we were in San Francisco doing concerts there, and they were rehearsing in the gymnasium in Oakland. So Peter said, "Oh, Edwin Hawkins wants to see you," and Peter was, the PT born of the music, and I was so completely opposite. I didn't know anything, and I believed everything he told me.
Yeah.
And so we're on our way to go see Edwin Hawkins. They're rehearsing, and they want to hear the song, and they maybe had like a casual conversation with Edwin Hawkins about where they're rehearsing or something. But anyway, we walk in, and we're, two white people in this gymnasium of, the Edwin Hawkins singers and their entourage and their people, and they're rehearsing away, and little by little, everybody kind of turns like, who is this walking down the aisle? And I nudged Peter with my elbow. I said, "You didn't tell him, really, did you? I'm here, and you didn't tell him. I know you didn't tell him." Anyway, they're looking at me, and they're looking at Peter, and I have my guitar, and Peter runs over to Edwin Hawkins and whispers something, in his ear, and Edwin Hawkins is gesturing and shaking his head, and the whole group is watching like, what in the hell is this? They had no idea, none whatsoever. And Peter starts undoing my guitar, hands me the guitar, sing the chorus, Melody, sing the chorus, and I start singing with my whole being, I'm going to sing the song so they can hear where they should be. And I sang the whole song. I sang about the second chorus. They started joining me.
Ah.
And Edwin Hawkins threw his hands up in the air. And, okay, we're doing it. So that was how that happened.
Wow.
Edwin Hawkins singers were recording with me, and we got a studio in San Francisco with maybe it was Oakland, I'm not even sure, but it was Freddie Kutera, who had been the engineer of Simon and Garfunkel.
Oh boy!
Was the engineer, and the percussionist from Santana was in town, and he came into the studio, and it was all over. Edwin Hawkins was on piano, and we just started. We did it.
Yeah.
We went through it a couple of times at the rehearsal gym, and I had no microphone, and I was as loud as the whole 46 people.
Wow.
I was always have that loud voice.
Yeah.
A loud voice.
Good for you.
So there we were in the studio. We did it in one take, and Peter kept doing that. Universal symbols, keep going.
Yes.
Finger in the air, keep going, keep going. He ran into the studio to make sure we kept going. So we had like an 8-minute version of Lay Down. And it was amazing. Everybody knew they were part of something that was going to live forever,
The vocals are so intense. It really... In addition to just the lyrics that you wrote, the way that the song is delivered vocally is so important to the overall experience of hearing that song. I mean, it really was a great moment.
Yeah, it really was. And, not to put a sour note on that, but Rolling Stone reviewed that record and said, Edwin Hawkins singers are great, with that song they wrote, something like that.
Uh-huh.
And when Melanie comes in, it's like a scratch against a chalkboard. Can you believe that? And I listened to that, but that hurt me so bad. I was devastated, because to me, Rolling Stone was supposed to be like my people,
Yes.
And for them to go on the attack. But I didn't know all the undercurrents. I didn't know the involvement of parking lot people, the Kinney parking lot group, and Clive Davis, and these people who were not even in the music business, who had this tremendous influence on these are people you don't know about, didn't hear of. And Clive Davis was not a music business person until, then. He came from a totally different direction. And, and there was an agenda, for all the groups that were part of that group,
yeah, sure. Right.
To be promoted and for anything else to be ridiculed or not be heard. But with me, I guess, really and truly, it was kind of a grassroots popularity stemming from Woodstock.
Sure.
I went on that stage an unknown person and came off a celebrity.
Yep. Funny how that happens.
Yeah, because, that's a very unusual phenomenon in itself because, most people, when they're going to be singing for 500,000 people, are well known.
Right.
And there I was, I had one record that was being played on some underground stations, beautiful people. Roscoe played it.
Yes.
Nobody knew what I looked like. It wasn't, I wasn't a public visual. Nobody saw me.
Right.
And even Dick Cavett attacked me when I went on his show because I was the cool girl to bash. And that was all there was to it.
Man.
Crazy when you think about it. Here I am, a white girl singing with a black group who are still marching and, for not having things segregated. And here I was being the example of this and not ever being recognized for that in itself.
Amazing. Moving to another song, I want to know about What Have They Done to My Song, Ma? How did you come to write that song, and did you have any sense that there was potential for that as a single at the time that you were conceiving it and composing it and recording it?
I never thought about singles.
Mm-hmm.
Peter was the single person.
Okay.
He would give you a song, oh, that's a hit, or this is a hit, or that's a hit. And so when, I just wrote it, I was in the studio, actually. I wrote it in the studio as a reaction, a literal reaction to what was happening with my song, because Peter would always have his way because he was the producer. Yeah. And they were all guys, and they're guy musicians, and he was a guy, and I wasn't. And, I didn't know musical lingo at all. I wasn't a trained musician, so I would say, to the musicians, well, I think it should go like, a little bit slower there. I didn't have retard at the tip of my finger. I didn't have musical language to communicate, and neither did Peter really. He was the producer, so they listened closely to what he was saying. Mm-hmm. Studio musicians were not used to having artists tell them what to do. Mm-hmm. It was always the producer and the engineer. So, because those were the people who were paying them. So, not usually the artist. So, I would always lose in this, thing in the studio. There were some very happy collaborations with me and Peter, but there were definite times where I would say, that's not what I hear. Yeah. No, this is being taken away from me and made into something else. And what have they done to my song? Look what they've done to my song. They tied it up in a plastic bag, turned it upside down, and that became it was on my album. Mm-hmm.